Venezuela is home to the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, even larger than Saudi Arabia. In fact, larger than any single Gulf state. Over the course of many decades, you might have noticed repeated US efforts to control or influence these reserves. But why? At the turn of the 20th century, major American and European oil firms, including ExxonMobil, moved into Venezuela, signing concessions that extracted oil with minimum royalties going to Caracas. By the 1930s, Venezuela was one of the top suppliers of crude oil to the United States. Venezuela took a major turn in 1976 when it nationalized its oil industry, creating PDVSA to manage these resources for decades. PDVSA supplied oil globally, especially in the US refineries. In 1999, Hugo Chavez was elected president with the promise to return oil wealth to the Venezuelan people. His government reasserted state control over the oil industry and revised contracts with foreign firms. US giants like ExxonMobil refused Venezuela's terms and left the country, triggering expensive legal disputes, while Chevron maintained minority operations. Chavez used oil revenues to fund social programs in health and education, and to build alliances across Latin America, but this shift also set the stage for increased tension with the United States. In April of 2002, discontented oil managers and opposition leaders, with links to domestic elites and pressure from the US corporate interests, backed a short-lived coup. Though it collapsed in days, it profoundly influenced Chavez's strategy. Thousands of PDVSA workers were dismissed, and the government tightened its grip. The struggle ultimately reinforced the narrative that oil was not just central to Venezuela's economy, but also to Venezuela's sovereignty. As Venezuela's internal politics continued to polarize, opposition leader Maria Machado emerged as a key figure, advocating privatization and more market-friendly policies, positions that would appeal to US corporate interests. Machado's political career faced legal challenges, including bans on running for office, a reflection of how contentious oil, national control, and international influence had become in Venezuelan politics. This system underpins global demand for the dollar, which in turn supports US economic strength. When oil is traded in dollar, nations need US currency to buy it, reinforcing the dollar's role as the world's reserve currency. This is widely discussed in economic analysis of the global oil markets, including and outside of mainstream reporting. In 2025 and early 2026, the United States escalated pressure against Venezuela's government, imposing sanctions, intercepting oil ships, and engaging in direct intervention. US statements have emphasized seizing control of Venezuela's oil production and directing revenues to US accounts. So while discussions about democracy and human rights often dominate the headlines, the underlying consistent is US interest in Venezuela is control of its oil, not just as a resource, but as a key pillar of global economic influence. Oil priced and traded in US dollar fuels demand for the US dollar itself. Control of Venezuela's oil flow can therefore strengthen the American economy, whilst limiting alternatives that might weaken the US financial hegemony. This mainly is not an international war on drugs. Cocaine is not even the top drug affecting the American people. Those would be fentanyl, methamphetamines, and other opioids. This has and will always be about power and control. Oil equals money, and money equals power.